There we go. So welcome, everybody. Glad to have you here. Glad to.
Hello.
No, I can't see you anymore. Where's that? There. Okay. I think we got it.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I know it's a little last minute, only a couple days notice, but we're happy to have you. And we got obviously a very special guest here with Sam. And yeah, we hope you guys.
Maybe pin it.
Yeah.
So it's great to have you here, Sam. I know everybody has been watching the video recordings and all that. Have you tallied up how many you've done so far?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I've done a lot,
I
but
know.
I need to do even more because
Yeah?
now that I'm with you guys in the trenches on the front line, then this is just something that I have to continue, right? You can only choose to be very, very private at the very beginning, but now that I finally figured out how to grow this community in the right way, then there's nothing to fear.
Lovely. That's great. We always have believed in face-to-face conversations, Zoom to face, but we've done that for the last 3 years in this actual room. And so we've met a lot of people and overcome a lot of, difficult conversations, and there's no other way. So we really appreciate you. I know the whole community shares in that sentiment as well. And they've been excited to meet you too. So we put together some questions. We have a lot of people that will be different parts of the world watching the recording as well. And so we wanted to do maybe a little recap. So I don't know how many or if all of you have had access to the recordings that have been out there that, all of the meetings that have taken place, we've kind of watched intently and have taken lots of notes and been very thoughtful about the questions asked and Sam's answers. So Paul was going to help us out with a little recap here of what we've learned so far.
Some valuable words, because I know he's done it a lot. But so essentially, guys, Sam has come onto the scene recently. He has been meeting with corporate, he has been a part of that inner circle since the beginning, but this time last year, maybe around May, obviously when the withdrawal stopped and things started to, transpire that, things were going a little bit downhill and people weren't receiving their rewards. Sam approached them and said, guys, what's going on? What are we doing? And they assured him that there's a recovery plan. Just give us, 6 months and we'll kind of have things turned around. He's been waiting and waiting. And with the introduction of, a lot of other options and a lot of other hyper things that haven't really resulted in any sort of recovery in Sam's eyes and also our own, he's now come to the forefront as someone that wants to, lead the charge and push the envelope to either, help corporate come to a resolution with recovery, or, and as you'll hear a little bit later on, another sort of option, another way forward for us to receive our 1X and to kind of move forward as a community and as a group. So not only we all are wondering to receive that 1X, but to do something going forward, something in the future, not just a dead end and everyone can take what they are owed and go somewhere else, but somewhere where we can continue Sam's dream and our dream to have something passive, to be a part of a greater community that can influence the world and to kind of provide that dream that, Hyperverse Hyperfund had in mind. So Sam, how was that for a little bit of an overview?
Yeah, thanks for unmuting me again. Sorry, I just like to mute myself so that there's no feedback. But that's a great summary. Again, I feel that the intention of what I wanted to achieve by bringing affiliate marketing as well as tokenomics together has been embedded in the narrative of the affiliate marketing side of Hyper. And corporate has executed that well to a certain degree. But of course, even though corporate has received the returns that we've generated from the funds management business, as well as membership funds, for them to then stop withdrawals after receiving so much assets and holding onto those assets, it is unfortunate, to say the least. So my objective, yes, is to hold them accountable, and one of the key ways we hold them accountable is for everybody to submit what they understand to be 1x, so that I can at least tally that up, and have that ready and available to have informed discussions with, you know, all the relevant parties to bring corporate to account. But in addition to that, I firmly believe that the intention that I had is still the trend of this ecosystem moving forward, which is affiliate marketing plus tokenomics. So if this is the trend moving forward, and large corporations will embed this model into their revenue generation and sales process, then why not have the largest affiliate marketing database in the world available for them to tap into? So we're going to be on this amazing journey where I am now here to build this out to a billion plus community, where we have the ability for tokens and projects that are, of course, dependable and reliable, as they are, you know, structures that are backed by the largest corporations in the world, and of course backed by their products as well, and then of course have this be part of the narrative that will drive a significant, you know, win-win-win outcome for the community, which are the end consumers, you know, the leadership, which are, you know, the ones that provide the structure and vision, and of course the companies themselves, who are there to grow their customer base and deliver a great product.
Brilliant. So it's the same as that video that we saw 3 years ago of you speaking of, you know, this lovely heart-based community spreading very organically throughout the world, but being able to be used and utilized for the benefit of each and every person through the blockchain. So it's interesting because that little video was the main part of our movement forward, getting people to see your vision for the world and what you saw blockchain being used for, that trust and transparency.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on that, that's one of the reasons why he's here. He's not really receiving that from corporate and from the parties that be. So everyone in a lot of calls, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And he simply just doesn't have the visibility. They aren't giving him the database. They aren't giving him the information that he needs to help provide that. So that's one of the major reasons he's here in front of us now, is to kind of push the envelope and help them kind of come to the decision, or take matters into his own hands and bring something us over to the stable DAO to do the reporting. So we have some sort of bouncing off point from this 1x until he actually knows what's going on. Because right now it could be 1 million, it could be 1 billion, it could be anywhere in between. And so to get a number now from us as a community and to get a game plan going forward is the main objective. And so he's been meeting, I think, once a month or so with corporate, just still keeping up and touching base. But that's one of the main reasons he's here in front of us now, is to give us sort of a plan to answer any questions and to let us know that he's here and he's not waiting any longer, and he's going to try and help us as soon and as well as he can to move forward in a really big way. So yeah, without further ado,
has Hyperverse given you a little bit more? Oh, sorry, I have to keep unmuting. We have to make him co-host. Have they given you a sense of a plan that they have in the works for next, or is there any new ideas from their end, or you just attend these meetings and listen into what's going on?
Well, the contents of the meetings don't really change all that much. You know, it's always around, everything's under control, everything is fine. You know, the community is just, you know, of course, patiently waiting and Sam, just trust us, right? But obviously everything is not fine. And you know, it has not been fine for a very long time. So as my patient runs out, I have let it be known that I will deal directly with the community so that they understand that I actually have a pathway forward so that we are able to make people whole regardless of whether corporate does it or not, right? But let's not forget, corporate needs to be held accountable regardless of what I do on my side, because that is a promise that corporate made everyone, and everyone subsequently has budgeted corporate's promise into you know, their communications with their people, as well as you know, budgeted it into their own living situation. So for them to you know, say 1x is around the horizon, launch Hyphenation, and of course people put more money into Hyphenation because they believe that they're getting the 1x back very, very soon, right? It leaves people in a very difficult situation because all of a sudden, you know, they are putting in their last, and that is never a position we want to leave people in. You know, people need to understand that you know, this industry is still highly highly unregulated, and there is a significant amount of risk involved, and one of the risk is counterparty risk. So what corporate has been doing from day one is leveraging the reputation, you know, of myself predominantly, and also Ryan, in order to generate this narrative. Now, we all need to be responsible for allowing this to happen. So this is me taking responsibility by asking everybody to at least trust me with the very important information of what is 1x, because I need to reach out and gather this in a uniform fashion so that I can have an informed conversation with corporate.
Beautiful. And just to kind of
well, I just wanted to mention, you say Hypertech Group, this is your company. So Hyperverse, Hyperfund, though you're a part of being on that corporate board of directors, you are not officially that part. Your piece is Hypertech Group. Is that correct?
Yes. So let's just go into a little bit of corporate governance stuff. This is the part I can disclose, and that is there are executive directors and non-executive directors. You know, non-executive directors are also known as independent directors. These non-executive / independent directors are observers. They are not the people who drive and make decisions, because you know, if you look at public companies, the CEO of those companies are always executive directors. In my case, when we created Hypertech Group, which is a technology company that supplies technology, as well as most recently in September last year, Stable DAO, both of these companies executive CEO and chairman of, meaning I am fully responsible and you know, liable for all the decision making that I'm involved in through these entities. Yes, I am on the board as an independent / non-executive director of the Hyper Membership Management Company, which is what manages the distribution of the assets for this community. And this is done through a third-party database and servers that are out of reach of my technology company, as we simply provide the tech that is subsequently deployed in their own service. I thank everyone for their patience over the last 3 minutes as I try to explain why we're a technology company, but we have no visibility of the database, and why I'm on the board, but also not responsible for the distribution. So hopefully that is clearer. But I'm more than happy to dive into more detail if needed at any time.
Okay. And I was going to just say that database, could it be for sale? Would they do such a thing?
Well, considering that the database is attached to, the hopes and dreams of this community and their broken promises, it can also be a liability to whoever that database is sold to. So ultimately, I'm more than happy to plug in, a unilevel tree structure into stable, even if it's from, a business that didn't do so well. Because what I want to look after is the community. There are plenty of people who participated in opportunities that didn't do too well. And, the leadership worked hard to put together that structure. So if they can then bring their structure across, into my database, which is stable, it will help us get to 1 billion faster.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely agreed.
Well, yeah, so we'll dive into a few of the questions that our community sent us ahead of time. We're quite unique group. We call ourselves Heal the World for a reason. There's a lot of kind-hearted, loving people here, and they just think differently, more towards how can we help? What kind of charity giving can we do through this kind of a model, and reaching the least of these around the world has kind of been our MO. Getting into communities in Uganda and Thailand and differently funding things. So our hearts are in the right place, aligned with yours as well. So one of those, Satomi has sent us the question about, your vision, but your stamina and balance through all of this. Do you have a spiritual practice, and who has influenced you forming your values from the start?
Well, my dad's a Buddhist, and my mom's, for a lack of better understanding, she's a socialist. And that's because my grandfather on my grandfather on my mother's side fought in the Civil War in China, and subsequently comes from they won, so communism won, and so she was deeply ingrained that everything should really be, socialized and shared, right? But she went to the Central Academic of Fine Arts in China, which is the peak, creative university in China. And subsequent to that, subsequent to that, she's then been very much
Getting a call.
Sorry, I've got people walking around.
That's okay.
I'm supposed to be at dinner, but
Uh,
no. So subsequent to that, she's just been really never attached to this earth. So I've had a pretty carefree upbringing in Australia. I'm born in Sydney, Australia, and subsequent, yeah. So she didn't really provided me too much in terms of structure, so I kind of just figured things out along the way. But I fell into writing my own programming, and of course just dealing with a lot with computers. So I'm actually fairly antisocial. I like to live a very private life. And in my spare time, I like to code. So, I haven't really explored anything spiritual, right? The only drug that I did was marijuana. So I'm sure if I did more drugs, I'd probably be a lot further along my spiritual journey. Who knows? But yeah, I like computers. Human beings and their emotions, not so much.
I understand that. Yeah. And so kind of tapping back into what you were saying with your structure and involvement in certain things, a lot of our community members and ourselves included, we're very much team players. We're very much wanting to support everything. Some of us here, actually a lot of us here, got the HyperPay visa because we thought, oh, that's great, a visa that also supports Hyper. And we also looked into all the exchanges that were kind of advertised in the presentation, Who Exchange and OKEX and all these other ones. So we were just wondering, what involvement, from Hypertech's point of view, was it just that you guys were invested in them surely for returns? Did you have any involvement really in the Who Exchange or other exchanges? Like, what is the relationship in that way?
do you still?
Yeah. And is there still anything tying Hypertech to the Who Exchange or any OKEX or anything like that, finance?
Yeah, so we have equity, but equity doesn't really mean that much if these exchanges never plan on listing or exiting onto stock exchange. The common saying we have in the exchange slash custody solutions provision space within the blockchain ecosystem is, as shareholders of Binance, you get BNB. As shareholders of Coinbase, you get Listco, shares, right, which you can sell into the stock market. So, both have different ways of providing liquidity, but it's the smaller exchanges that we end up, of course, still doing well, but not really having much upside. Because, for example, Who Exchange, we provided some technology to them, but in a bear market, they just decided to shut up shop. So it's disappointing that people are caught out by this, but I want to now that I'm here at the forefront, I just want to make sure that we educate this community in the right way, which means just turn everything back to cash as quickly as possible. And of course, even if you leave it in crypto, don't leave it on an exchange. Don't even leave it. Don't even leave it on Hyperpay, right? You have to understand, right? Even though that's one of the solutions that we provide, you don't want to leave too much on these services just because you're not the key holder. And who else can you trust but yourself in a lightly regulated environment?
So no influence on Who, eh? No chance to get those recovering those. Have they gone completely out of out of business?
Look, I actually have a significant amount that is on Who, but you know, the fact is, I have also got knowledge of what's happening there as well. And if I was to be the last person to withdraw and the thing collapsed, then, you know, if there is any legal problems, then they'll be saying, oh, it's, you know, Sam withdrawing the last dollar, right? Without ignoring the fact that there was already a significant portion of the treasury probably already missing, right? So the thing is, I've done this on a number of exchanges, not just Who, right? Where I did have a significant amount. I did have some knowledge of them having trouble fulfilling withdrawal requests and liabilities, but because of my proximity to it, it just means that I'm actually not willing to make any withdrawals, because in the case of any bankruptcy proceedings, I don't want to be named as someone that is part of the bankruptcy proceedings, needing to be owing money to the procedure because of the clawback, right? So you know, I've always become a little bit smarter by ensuring that I don't leave too much on these exchanges. But you know, what is too much, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when you do, you know, significant transactions, even an insignificant amount seems fairly significant. So, you know, all I want to do is make sure that moving forward, we do educate people and make sure that they do either turn it into cash or really do their homework and learn how to manage their own wallet keys.
Yeah, that's so important. And the only way to learn in this circumstance is the hard way, unfortunately, leaving something on the exchange. But thank you for that. And so I think we asked that one. Corporate right now is not corroborating or helping you on the efforts that you're making right now going forward. Is that correct? Hyperverse corporate.
Yeah, that's correct. You know, I'm every month at our meetings, it's just the same information. You know, yes, there are some minor withdrawal issues, but everything's under control, and you know, we'll fix it. Don't you worry. Just give us more time. So, you know, I'm not the sharpest knife in the shed. Oh, sorry, the sharpest tool in the shed. But you know what? I'm still a tool, and I can be used by the community, can't I? So if you guys just give me the firepower to go and present the numbers to the relevant people who want to know the numbers, and this is not just corporate, if you understand where I'm coming from, then this implements a significant amount of pressure for a resolution. And that's my job, right? If there's pressure, then there will be urgency for a resolution. And when there's urgency, then we're no longer waiting indefinitely for a resolution.
Okay.
Perfect.
That's a good transition into the next one.
Yeah, we'll give you a little bit of time to catch your breath and kind of make this question a little bit longer and a bit more full of information. So a lot of our community members, you know, with the withdrawals in MLF and HVT, they've been holding a lot of crypto in that way, kind of waiting for it to go up or wondering what to do with it. Is there any way of creating a utility in StableDAO for honoring those holdings in some way? And what would be the process of earning or receiving some value in StableDAO, and how would that process look like, withdrawing or actualizing any of that crypto in that way?
So creating liquidity is a process. and it is not something that can be done overnight. So liquidity is based on consensus of people understanding this is how the token has value, and therefore some will buy and some will sell, right? And then you have liquidity. You know, it's not rocket science, but it's not an overnight process. So our objective through Stable is to unlock the human capital that is a part of this community. And that is by not only growing this database into the billions, but also to get visibility in depth of each and every person that is a part of this database. You know, as an example, a swimwear company will only want to promote their product to people who can swim. You know, they also will probably have a range that they are targeting, and therefore want to approach specific age groups and genders or geographic locations. Now, those are pieces of information that we will slowly gather over time, and based on that, we will be able to offer the right opportunities to people who are qualified to work on those opportunities. And if they are qualified and ready and able, then they are able to activate their own network, because their network is already part of a structure that will not change until the end of time.
So the network part scares a lot of people. That is, you need to bring your friends and, you know, have them in that circle with you to be able to benefit. And I don't think that's where you're going with this. The value that you see in this community coming over is just having the wide range of demographic groups throughout a question group, or the ability for different companies around the world to pinpoint their questions and their strategies or their offerings to specific people. So instead of all the ads that, you know, pop up on Facebook being, you know, directed to what you clicked on last, this is specifically directed towards something. So that down the road will be really useful in you know, I guess, finance and salesmanship going forward with in the blockchain space and community that way. So for us, looking at that right now as the doorway in, or I guess where our focus would be, that's the back end on how you will continue to use this community. But in the foreground, it's more about how it will benefit us. So the 1X question is the burning question for everyone, and how that will play out in the stable DAO system. So if my 1X was 1,000, how would that show up in the system, and the ability to use that or take that or, you know, move it around? What would that be looking like in the first early stages of this new stable DAO plan that you have?
And just to kind of add to that, there is on the website prosumers, so consumers that participate. So I guess thereuld be an element of participation and stuff that, you know, we would be doing to help support the system and creating value for that 1X. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Sorry, I got my camera off because I'm trying to charge my phone.
On the move.
So to answer that question, the objective really, sorry, I've got family in the background dinner.
Well, that's okay.
The objective really is to have everybody build once, right? I understand the real strength
of building a community is not through just the networking component, all right, because that is ring friends, which is kind of scary, but it's the ability to present great opportunities without even having to present it, because we are using products, we are promoting products we already know and love, and be rewarded for that, just because these companies are now exploring a distribution model that interacts with a tokenomic. It's no different to loyalty points, but loyalty points, is a pretty closed loop and boring system. What we want to do is make sure that we are able to create immense consensus amongst, a large group of people, and of course, reward in a very big fashion the people who started the process of the distribution model.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And another thing that, just to kind of get people's heads around maybe what they can expect, or your plan going forward, how is that, once consensus is created and everyone is providing a lot of value there, is it going to function kind of the same as other hyper ecosystems, like a daily amount, kind of lump sums for doing tasks sort of in their quote unquote wallet? How does that affiliate side or benefiting side of that ecosystem play out for you in your mind? Is that going to be a sort of a daily release, sort of when you're done tasks, you get a little bit in your wallet? Have you kind of thought of that yet in terms of the benefiting side, how it plays out?
And I think the initial, yeah.
Well, a daily release, I think, makes sense, because it incentivizes people to move quickly, and that kind of momentum is no different to a private sale model, where the earliest people who participate get the cheapest tokens, and the later people participate get the more expensive tokens. Now, if and this is basically what we experienced in the ICO boom back in 2016-17, is there were tokens that we were picking up for half a penny, and we were then selling for $2, just because we were, in the very early private rounds, when they brought it to us, and all we had to do was just give them the advice on the original white paper. So yes, they were great returns, but the thing is, that doesn't incentivize loyalty, and it doesn't incentivize integrity, because guess what? There's a lot of people, half a penny listing at 10 cents, right? That's already a 20x. And then, it went to $2. Well, it went to $6, but we sold at $2, right? And then, it went back down to 20 cents, right? It's still 2x listing price, but, obviously, we were able to get out because we simply were a fund and needed to maximize our returns. But the people who are loyal to the platform, they got in at $2 and then sold at 20 cents. So our objective is, how do we make things fairer so that it does incentivize loyalty, but also, in addition to that, incentivize people who are actively loyal versus passively loyal? Because the thing is, if you're passively loyal, and you're just holding and holding and holding, that's fine as well. But if you're actively loyal and you're bringing more people to buy the product and get rewarded with more product through the tokenomic, then of course the outcome will be exponentially greater as well. So all these things are experiences that we can drive with the new customers that are part of already existing brands. So what we have here is a community that is Web3 enabled, and is well versed in affiliate marketing. So this is a very powerful community that the rest of these global brands need to tap into sooner rather than later. Because if they don't do it, their competitors will. And if their competitors do it, then their competitors will catch up and outgrow them.
Right. Okay. So I think we have a plan going forward. I think the burning question for everyone is that 1X. And so getting funds through and into stable DAO is seemingly how that is going to happen. Must they stay there, or are we able to withdraw those funds pretty quick here? You know, there's a lot of people with a lot of 1X that haven't been able to touch those funds for, in some cases, a year, right? They haven't ever withdrawn. So they're looking at how can we get some of that back? And I know that putting it in a new system is daunting, and I see your vision for where you want us to go. But, you know, how do we get at that as soon as possible?
So firstly, I'm not asking for more capital from this community. I'm asking for data around the 1X. This applies corporate pressure to deal with the community the right way and deliver on their promises. But of course, if there are opportunities that we then bring in front of the community, and the thing is, these opportunities are something which the community is interested in, then at least they don't have to build a new tree under each and every single opportunity. You know, Amway does not ask for the structure to be rebuilt every single time they introduce a new product or product range. So this is a structure that we will maintain, just like how Amway has maintained their structure for the last 70 years. All we are offering is a database, and every single opportunity will have a free and passive component, which is akin to an airdrop. So even if people sign up and they don't put any money in, they will be accessing the airdrops of future opportunities. These future opportunities will be, I think, highly beneficial, because we're not working with startups that are burning capital and may, in most cases, fail. We're working with household brands that have a huge product range that they are looking for a new market to distribute to.
Perfect. And so these airdrops of products, is that mainly going to be discounts for things? Like, is there going to be a native token in Stable DAO that is going to be kind of fueling the ecosystem, and that kind of is going to be running things and providing the value? How do you see that taking place for what's going, because I know MOF and HVT were kind of the gas and the utility token for Hyperverse, Hyperfund. What do you have envisioned for a coin or some sort of stable token that will be fueling that system and being able to transact in that way?
Well, I'd like to stay away from, gas fees and blockchains and, a fuel kind of model, because if you look at Amway, it did well without blockchain. It didn't need, all these things that it could be put to use to grow Amway to the size it is today. So I'm not saying this will never be introduced. I'm just saying that I am new to network marketing and I'm not a builder, and I need to learn from this community before I'm able to make any decisions, because if I make decisions now, it'll be the wrong decision, and the community is only going to give me one last chance here, because they already saw me on posters and PowerPoints, right? But they haven't heard from the horse's mouth. So this is me talking and learning and growing with the community directly, forming this direct relationship with everyone. So if I'm able to be mentored by people who have decades of experience, and I still don't get it right, then at least I've given it my best shot. But I need to go through that process of learning and being mentored first before I make any of these decisions, because affiliate marketing is a very different territory to the token and blockchain ecosystem that I'm familiar with.
Well, I think you're best to stay away and just follow your heart on these things. You've done well so far, and we appreciate that you're here. Network marketing isn't always the solution. There's a lot of brokenness in that. And I think a lot of people that do come through the doors on something like this with the possibility of just benefiting yourself and a few others was the draw to Hyperfund and Hyperverse. And so I need to go back to that question about that 1x. Is that going to come through StableDAO in your mind, or Hyperverse, the Hyperverse system, or how will that come through? And, the larger amounts people have 10,000 or 50,000 in, will that be required to stay a certain amount of time within the system that it comes out before it is paid forward? I'm just trying to get nuts and bolts of what that looks like.
So just to be clear, if there is any efforts of refund, it should come from the Hyper back office that you guys put the money into. I'm not responsible for distribution. Never was, I guess, involved in the actual day-to-day running of the affiliate marketing side of the hyper branded ecosystem. So what that means is, my job is to gather information independent of what of what corporate is telling us, and just really create the necessary pressure to drive an outcome. But if there is any 1x, it will definitely have to come from corporate, because that's where they made the promise to the community. And I actually believe affiliate marketing has a significant role to play in tokenomics moving forward, but it wasn't my intention to be at the forefront of this community to drive an outcome, because I just thought that there are better and more experienced people to do that through. However, because I trusted people, and they have currently been delaying withdrawals, and of course losing trust of not only myself but the community, that is why I'm here now. So as much as I'd like to stay away from affiliate marketing and network marketing, it's unfortunately what a large portion of this community knows, and therefore if I don't give them something that they know, instead I give them something that is completely alien to them, then I'm not able to create or add any value to these kind of people. So it is something that I'm looking to incorporate moving forward. We just need to take baby steps so that I'm not hurting this community more.
Okay, so just to bring it all back for everyone that was hearing bits and pieces, and I'm kind of understanding it now, is that I guess Sam's job and role and kind of what he's kind of appointed himself to do is be the champion of us, but not necessarily the savior in that sense, where he's not using StableDAO to produce these returns and giving us our 1x. He's giving us a bridge to another system that we're going to be valued, where we're going to be able to earn something in a passive or more in a participation way. But this shift over to StableDAO is a gathering of our information, a a cataloging of all of the 1x and what everyone is owed, and bringing that to corporate to create a solution. So nothing is necessarily coming from Stable Dow and Sam. Sam is just kind of being our liaison with corporate to go back and forth and to get a resolution. And if people want to go forward and want to use the same structure in this system to earn and to do something with, I guess, something and an ecosystem that we trust more, that Stable Dow is that sort of entity. It's not necessarily going to be for refunds and stuff, but for a path forward and to continue the same sort of ecosystem, but in a different place, I guess, where we feel more valued. Is that correct? Is that what you're getting at, Sam? And kind of in summary?
That's a great summary. Thank you.
No problem. I'm just trying to pick all it because, again, you've done a lot of calls and I've listened to all the calls on fast forward, mind you, but just trying to get a whole picture together so people can understand and have the proper expectations and not looking at Sam or Stable Dow saying, what's happening and, why aren't things adding up? So again, there's another question in the chat that I don't think Sam can speak to entirely, but I'll kind of give my 2 cents and see if
well, let's move over to let's finish up with these, and I think that answer will come into play. So we are looking, and Paul and I did some digging in the back end of our Hyperverse accounts, looking for the information that would be required to show what we deposited. And unfortunately, from the Hyperfund to Hyperverse push, and some of you are seeing Hypercosmos, which can be converted back into Hyperverse. We'll do that on another call. But the information is a little bit altered, let's say, or standardized in the back. So it's going to be a lot more self-reporting on your honor and honesty coming forward with some screenshots to support. So there is a way to find some deposits. There is a way to find some hashtags and amounts, but you know what you put in and you know what you took out. And, again, back to this heart-based community, I think we do have the right way of doing business here, and that's one helping the next. So we will continue that going forward. But we do need to know, Sam, what information you're looking for reporting to you. And I know that you have an email or a website or a questionnaire or something that will be delineated through the leaders sometime this weekend, hopefully. But we're looking at what that looks like for us, showing our deposit amounts, or what proof are you thinking it's going to look like? What do you suggest for those also with multiple accounts? So loaded question, but I think you've heard them before.
Yeah, so the multiple accounts, you just total the amount deposited for all the accounts and the amount withdrawal across all the accounts as well. Just tally them up. And of course, just a note how many accounts that the entire tally is made up of, along with the username of each and every single one of these accounts.
Perfect. Okay. That seems pretty simple. And I know a couple of people are wondering, and I'm going to err on the side of guessing, and then Sam can maybe clarify. I may not be able to speak to it, but a lot of people were converting tokens, so converting their HU into MLF or HVT and things like that, and it never left the back office, so they never received it. Yeah, so they never received payment. Would that MLF ever be released? Does that count as a withdrawal or receiving funds, even though it hasn't left the back office and they haven't been able to receive ownership of it on an exchange? Do you know anything about how corporate is viewing that transaction in the back office, even though it's still there and it's not HU anymore, it's still not under their own possession per se?
I would not understand the intricacies of that particular example. But we just need to put in the numbers that we feel is right. And now I understand there are people who have withdrawn the MOF, and it's gone down significantly in value, and they're not able to convert that into much money. That of course still counts as a withdrawal, but if it never left the system, then just interpret it in your own way, just so that at least I can have the data needed to begin the process.
Right. Yeah. So just again, for everyone to kind of reiterate that in a different way, Sam's just looking for an amount. So if it hasn't left the ecosystem, if you haven't received payment, then, I would just mainly go off of what you've received, what you've actually drawn out of the system. And again, what he's mentioning too, it's unfortunate to hear about that, but if HVT and MOF have come out of the system and it's dropped, they unfortunately, I don't think can do a whole lot about that, just because if HVT and MOF went out of the system and it went up, I doubt many people would be sending their HVT and MOF back to Hyperverse as a little thank you. So it's a gray area there, but do your best to self-report, do your best to kind of tally stuff up for yourself. I did notice that MOF is up almost doubled in price in the last couple of days, so there's some life there for some people.
Maybe these calls are inspiring that energy.
So anything that's left the system has left the system, but if it hasn't, it looks like just do your best to be as honest as you can, and then that way, at least, even if it's, let's say the whole number is 50 million and it's really 49 or 51, whatever, as long as it's a ballpark figure, we can get some sort of conversation going forward, and we can work out all the nitty gritties, I guess, at a later date, is what Sam's alluding to.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important to know that this community was supporting MOF and HVT. And if there's a way that another system, or, the system that we were trusting and honoring, can incorporate that, that would be great too. Find that utility for it and make it something wonderful. And so over the next 6 months, Sam, what's your vision look like? We like your vision. We like you vision casting, and, will we be paid out? Will Stable DAO be up and going, having people paid on their opinions and things that you envision for that? Or, we've been waiting and waiting. So 6 months from now, what do you think?
My job is to keep the stable database running till the end of time, because it's just taking what is solid about Amway, but adding a lot of extra fuel so that we're able to create extraordinary returns for the community. Anything you do in the blockchain space, in the token space, requires a community. I think given that we can be that community that is put in front of great opportunities that are being put together by the large corporates coming into the space, then there is a significant upside for this community moving forward, and that will attract more people coming in to, of course, move us from 1 million to 1 billion. So in the next 6 months, I look forward to growing this community, not just in numbers, but also in visibility of each and every single member, so that we can bring valuable opportunities that you guys are already familiar with and are willing to participate in. My prediction on the 1x is that corporate needs to come out and do something, because it has been 9 months, moving on 10, and if I'm providing monthly reports to not just the community for what the community has submitted, but also to other parties interested in this entire, scenario, then there will be significant pressure for next steps by the people who are supposed to be protecting consumers from these kind of problems, right? You know, there is, regardless of whether this is a investment product or not, every single first world country still has Consumer Protection Act. So then there will be more pressure in the next 6 months, and I predict that pressure will lead to an outcome.
Good. Is there a way that we can support that? Is there an email that we could voice our opinion to? That's the Hyperverse someone. Yeah.
I'm here to be the entire community's punching bag. It's okay.
That's not very fair.
We want to back you up and lift you up if we could do that. Okay, so next steps for everybody. Questionnaire or website. I know many people have gone to check out that stable site. What do you want them doing?
Well, I want people to visit stable.limited, sign up using their existing sign up using the affiliate code of their existing upline. Of course, if that's not available, then just someone you like. You know, that's not the core concern here, but I do want to respect the existing leadership structure of Hyper, because even in a new community, there needs to be a structure. My objective really is to gather this very important information, report back to the community monthly, and hopefully in 6 months there will be progress, whether it's from corporate or from some other third-party entity that is concerned about investors/consumers in this space. You know, it's at least something. Because right now it's just a lot of noise, but the noise isn't really leading to anything and giving us any outcome. Sign up onto stable.limited and please provide me that information.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I know it's been an hour. We're so gracious of your time. I know I think you were foregoing family dinner. You got family running around back there. So no one's put anything else in the chat. So we thank you for coming on and answering some questions and kind of showing us a little bit about who you are and where you want to go and all that stuff. So we really appreciate that. And
we're here to serve. We're happy to answer your questions and show you back office stuff, whatever you need. The same as everyone in our community. So grateful. Thank you so much for your time. And Satomi said we're praying for you. I appreciate it, Sam.
Great. And I look forward to finding time to get in touch with my spiritual self eventually. But right now I'm on a mission to make everyone whole and to make corporate deliver on their promise. So thank you everyone for their support. And I do look forward to the next time. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks, Sam.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
I think we've got another recording in the other room. There you go.
Wow.
There we go.